Scifi had spent 9 years on the paper, 3 decades of Vithari Human Summit records. Every clause, every amendment, every territorial concession and trade adjustment, catalogued, cross-referenced, and weighted by outcome. The conclusion was undeniable. In 31 years of formal negotiation between the Vithari sovereignty and United Earth, the Vithari had won every single session, not most, every one. Trade access to the Miran corridor, secured on Vithari terms. Mineral rights in the Obara belt, Vithari allocation at 68%. Transit fees through the conduit, reduced twice at human expense. Diplomatic recognition of Vithari cultural zones in 3 contested systems, granted without meaningful resistance. Scifi published the paper under the title Asymmetric Yield, a study of concession patterns in Vithari human relations. It was 212 pages long. It was meticulous. It was in every measurable way correct. The Vithari Diplomatic Academy adopted it within a semester. Professors cited it as evidence of superior negotiating methodology. The argument was clean. Humans conceded because humans were outmatched at the table. Their diplomats were competent but structurally disadvantaged. Shorter institutional memory, rotating delegation leads, a cultural preference for resolution over leverage. Scifi accepted an endowed chair on the strength of the paper alone. On Earth, a copy reached the desk of Trade Minister Nora Callaway. Callaway was 53. She had served in the Trade Ministry for 22 years, the last 6 as minister. She was not by any stretch a woman who reacted to things quickly. Her staff had learned that when Callaway went quiet over a document, the silence meant she was reading it seriously. She read Scifi's paper in one sitting. Then she went back to page 144, found footnote 391, and circled it with a red stylus. The footnote read, "In 17 of 31 sessions, human delegations opened with positions significantly more expansive than their final agreements, suggesting either initial overreach or a negotiating posture designed to create the appearance of concession." Callaway forwarded the paper to her department with a single annotation clipped to the footnote. It read, "She found the seam, still didn't look through it." Deputy Minister Gaines read the annotation over his morning coffee. He didn't forward it further. He didn't need to. Everyone in the department already understood. Because the secret, the one Scifi had spent 9 years circling without ever touching, was not that humans had lost 31 negotiations. It was what humans had been negotiating from. Every opening position the human delegation had brought to the table over 3 decades was not an opening position. It was the real position. The one humanity actually wanted, the one that reflected the true strategic value of what was being discussed. The Vithari had spent 31 years winning by negotiating humanity down from positions that were, in fact, exactly where humanity intended to end up. The Miran corridor? Humanity's opening ask had been full military transit rights through Vithari sovereign space. The Vithari had fought that demand for 11 months and emerged victorious, with a compromise that gave humanity commercial transit rights, which was all they had ever needed. The Obara belt. Humanity had demanded 80% mineral allocation. The Vithari had clawed it down to 68-32 Vithari favor. Humanity's actual resource projections had required 31%. They'd gotten 32 and let the Vithari call it a win. The conduit transit fees. Humanity had proposed eliminating them entirely. The Vithari had negotiated them down to a reduced rate, a rate that was still low enough to make the conduit humanity's most cost-effective shipping lane in the sector. 31 sessions, 31 Vithari victories, and every single time, the humans had walked away with exactly what they came for. The Vithari hadn't been winning negotiations. They'd been winning the negotiations humanity had designed for them to win. Scifi's paper was correct. Every concession she documented was real. Every Vithari advantage she catalogued was genuine. Her data was flawless. She had just never asked the question that mattered. She had documented every human concession in perfect detail. She had not once examined what those concessions were concessions from. She had measured the distance the humans retreated without ever checking where they had started, or why. In the Trade Ministry on Earth, Deputy Minister Gaines finished his coffee. set the paper on the stack marked for archival review, and pulled up the briefing for the 30-second summit. The opening position was already drafted. It was, as always, significantly more expansive than what humanity actually needed. Gaines reviewed it, approved it, and sent it forward with a single note to the delegation lead. Standard posture. Let them win. Follow Sci-Fi Shorts for more original sci-fi short stories, HFY, space opera, and life between the stars.